Hi everyone. Thank you all for joining our live webinar in collaboration with Google. I want to first introduce myself. My name is Rudolf Dekker. I am a strategic account manager travel for Achieve. And I want to introduce to you Satyan Yossi. He is Hotel Ads business leader at Google. And I want to introduce to you my colleague next to me, Alex van der Pol. He is a digital marketing evangelist at Achieve. Special day for him because it is his birthday. So that's a nice day. Okay. First of all, the presentation is approximately 1 hour, and it includes a Q&A at the end of our presentation. And if you have any questions to us, please ask them via our chat, and we will answer them at the end of our presentation. Okay. That's all. Let's start. I will give the word to Satyan. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm assuming you can hear me, and we're okay to proceed, which is great. Thank you for everyone who's joining. My name's Satyan, as mentioned. I'm based in London, and I'm a hotel ads business specialist. So essentially, I'm connecting hoteliers, I'm connecting OTAs, and also the integration partners such as AdAchieve to our system, which essentially allows hoteliers to connect with our product. What I want to spend the next 30 or so minutes going through is essentially an overview of top trends that we're seeing at Google, and also to give you an overview of what we're doing as a company in the travel sphere, in particular attention onto the accommodation products that we have live, one of which is Google Hotel Ads. And let's see if I can present. So that's my contact details. Feel free to drop me a line if you have any questions. Otherwise, the guys at AdAchieve are more than capable to be able to assist you as well. So looking at the trends initially, we've always been saying it's the year of mobile since I can remember. But what we know now is that if you're not considering mobile, then you're not in the mindset of the user. We know that travelers are always turned to search for travel information, but what and how they are searching for continues to evolve. We've seen that travelers turn to search for everything from inspiration to last-minute travel plans. Mobile searches for the best place to travel have more than doubled in the last 2 years. Mobile searches for things to do near me have increased 6 times as well over the last 2 years. This is all data from 2018, 2019. Given this change in search behavior, the path to purchase has become really complex, and we know this, and this continues to evolve as well. And we know that the travel planning is not linear, and it is cross-device as well. Travelers no longer linear look through the different stages that we've highlighted in the past for booking travel. So inspiration, comparing, booking, experiencing, and ultimately sharing your travel experience as well. The travel planning path has gotten more and more complex over the recent years. The typical consumers that use Google's products are not necessarily advanced road warriors. They are traveling infrequently, and they're looking for advice and information. Research is a really important step for them. We see almost 50% of travelers researching their trip options, with 1 in 10, almost 10%, actually rebooking if they find a better option and the booking availability is available for them. Travel planning also occurs across multiple devices throughout the process, and users are continually increasingly moving to mobile when in destination and looking for things like activities and things to do. And we see that customer expectations are continuing to increase and change. They want more, they expect more from you, a hotelier, or you as a service provider. Nearly all mobile travelers will immediately switch to another website or an app if they encounter problems like a slow loading times on your website, people are time poor now. As soon as it starts to take a little time, people will just hit back. Or if they see a complicated user interface, if there's lots of offers, if the booking's not necessarily quarantined, users are apt to essentially get themselves out and go somewhere else. We also see that over half of travelers expect travel companies, when permission dictates, to tailor information to them based on personal preferences or past behaviors. People are expecting that if they've been to your website once, they don't necessarily need to have to infill all the information that they may have input previously. They're expecting a personalized product instantaneously, quick, and that's the baseline of what they expect today. And as a result, if this isn't delivered, we can see that this is a lost opportunity. The biggest challenge to taking a trip is not finding an option that meets a traveler's needs. It's more a case of that the trip is being too expensive. So that just gives you a bit of background in terms of the information that we're seeing from our users, and we've also done some studies as well. We have an example here of Stefan. Now, Stefan, and this is based on a consumer panel that we did, and it's just to highlight the multiple touch points that a user will encounter. So Stefan, whose online planning for a trip included over 600 different touch points, different websites, different apps, social media, etc. This included searches, included video views, and page views over 74 days. Now, what this person is looking for is for airlines, hotels, things to do, theme parks, etc., etc. What I want to highlight is essentially this is by far not the norm. There's a lot of complications, and other people will search in different ways as well. So the example we have of Katya is that it's a slightly different experience. She was looking at an experience to somewhere to stay within 6 days. And initially, the idea was that she was looking for a hostel. Now, what we can see from the data is that the multiple touch points essentially changed her behavior, changed her booking decision, and ultimately booked with a hotel instead of a hostel. What I want to highlight with these two examples as evidence is there's no average journey. Stefan took 2 months and Katja took about 6 days. What we see is this behavior is mirrored globally with all users. Depending on which market they are, then depending on the complexity and what branding activities done in those markets, this will differ greatly. However, ultimately what travelers are looking to do is looking for where to go, when's best for them to go, how to get there, and when they're there, what to do. So off the back of the data and what we're seeing with the user behavior, Google's taken over the last 5 or 6 years, pretty much a focused, taken a big focus on travel, on delivering a travel product which delivers those needs. We want to be the trusted place where travelers go for the most useful information. And it's got to be fast and it's got to be effortless. If we're not trusted, users won't come back to us. They'll find another way to search. If it's not useful information to them, to the user, then again, that's the opportunity of losing someone who's previously trusting the information that we've been providing to them. What we want to do is to simplify travel planning and drive profitable growth for our partners. And there's 2 ways that we're doing this. On the user side, we're investing in richer travel vertical experiences and supporting multi-session planning to assist the users throughout the travel lifecycle. And secondly, with these experiences, our goal is to grow travel demand and create more opportunities to connect users and to the partners. So as you may have seen in 2019, we essentially launched more of a seamless travel experience, more in keeping with what we were delivering on mobile at the time. It was meant to be a single cohesive experience centered around the trip planning event. So hopefully making it easier for travelers to find these experiences, regardless of location or device. Users can find our features initially by doing a search or going to google.com/travel. What's not changed is our continued focus on three key things. The first is to be comprehensive and deliver fast results of high quality. The second is to be assistive across all sessions. So users are intelligently, hopefully, enabling them to resume travel planning across different sessions. So if they're logged in on their phone, if they're logged in on a work computer and logged in on a tablet at home, they shouldn't have to re-input all the information into Google. And thirdly is to organize all travel information for users automatically around trips and making it easy to access this information. So going in a little bit in more focus, I think one of the key things I wanted to highlight is there's sometimes a bit of confusion in terms of what we're delivering from a paid for perspective and what we're delivering organically. So if I was to do a search on Google on the standard search results page, or if I was to go to the google.com travel page, the initial search is usually around destination. The example here is a search for Utrecht in the Netherlands. So as you'll see straight away is that because the user's not necessarily at this stage highlighted whether it's accommodation, a flight, or just to understand more about the destination, we offer all these information to the user without them having to do too much of a complicated search. So in this example, the user's looked for Utrecht and looking for a hotel. What we deliver straight away, and we pull through the information that is a default, which is the dates, for example, is essentially give a varied example of the types of properties the user could look to book in a certain city. It's quite seamless. It doesn't take you onto another browser page, and it's very quick and it's dynamic as well. So the user can click and drag the map and the information will automatically update. However, everyone's different and they have different needs as well. So as a result, we allow the user to filter by what's important to them. If I was to do this myself, and if I was traveling for business, for example, or with a family, some things are important to me. So I'm looking at an average guest rating, for example. I'm looking at the facilities. I may need to have Wi-Fi as a prerequisite. I need to make sure that the hotel I stay in or the property I stay in offers that. I may want to go to the gym before I head out for work, for example. So being able to highlight things like that, but also that will be different for everyone. So whether it's child-friendly, pet-friendly, has free parking, free breakfast, all these kind of things are important to the user. So having made a selection, what we deliver is essentially a filtered view, hopefully giving the user a better picture of the options that are available to them. Again, so far, this is all organic. This is all information that we're pulling through automatically from the different partners that we're working with and the information that we've crawled already. What this highlights to me now is a price point of different hotels, and I can see on a map a potential property that is of interest to me. So in this example, it's the NH Hotel in Utrecht. If I was to click on this, it will essentially give me a whole host of additional information. Again, this is all information that was been sourced primarily through Google My Business, but also other sources as well. So we can look at some beautiful and clear pictures. Again, the user has the ability to filter by what's important for them. They may not want to see the pictures that have been submitted by the hotel themselves, but from the users or from other guests. And the photo selection is awesome in terms of the ability to filter and also have 360-degree views and look at also standard images as well. What I'm also able to look at reviews. So we can go deep into the reviews from other travelers and also from other third parties that we source as well. And with our goal of comprehensiveness, we're working hard to gather reviews from across the web. In the example you can see on the screen, there are reviews from Booking, the Booking Group, Expedia Group, and TripAdvisor as well. Again, different users place emphasis on different brands. And what this also quite accurately and quite nicely does is also highlight the different reviews based on the user, whether they're a family, whether it's for business, whether it's someone who's traveling on their own or with children, wherever it may be. Now, again, with regards to the destination, we know that not necessarily, other than people that continually travel to the same place out of habit or for work or for loyalty reasons, a lot of people are looking to find new information. So for someone who's not necessarily familiar with the destination, they might want to understand a little bit more about where the hotel is located before making the booking or making the decision. The location tab is really useful for this, and it gathers the richness of Google local data in one place. I can get a great descriptive overview of the neighborhood and see information and score the hotel's proximity to transport and things to do. If it's shopping, if it's culture, all this kind of information can become apparent. So let's say I've made a decision. This is the property that is for me, and it's important that I make a booking, or this is the hotel that works for me. So under the overview page or under the prices as well, we list the rates that are available for the property, but we also deliver a few other things as well. What we highlight is a lot of the organic information again. So in this case, the hotel's name, but also their phone number, and also a link directly through to their website. And then what you have further down on the page is essentially a list of partners that are reselling on that hotel's behalf. So a lot of these will be OTAs, but in this example where NH is working with us directly, what we will highlight to the user is that this is a rate from the official company. Now, we know that users want to usually book directly, especially if the price is accurate. There's a perception that if you book directly, you're going to get the best service, you're going to get the best room, the best available rate, and also there's not going to be a chance of overbooking, for example. Whether or not that's true or not, or whether it's down to the user's perception, it's not for me to say. But what we do know is that if the user then clicks on this link, this is the first element that we've seen or have presented so far, which is an actual ad unit. This is the ad that will take the user away from the Google ecosystem and deliver them to your landing page. What we would hope with this Google Hotel ad in this situation is that the user's done all the research, they've identified the property, they know the rates is available, they don't necessarily need to have any additional information. So what we would want is the partner to be the user to be delivered to a booking page. Quarantined, simple, clean, the ability to make a booking. Once you've got their information, by all means, there's the opportunity to upsell, but this is the crucial element that we have here. And one of the most important parts here is that the price that we deliver here should be reflected and accurate to the page that the user's landing on as well. Hopefully that's of use for you this afternoon. As I say, I think there's time for Q&A as well, but hopefully that was a quick overview of what Google's doing in travel and why we're doing it, and essentially what we're delivering to our users and also to our partners that we work with. Thank you. Alex, over to you.
Thank you, Sajan. It's really great to see how Google has simplified travel planning for its users across the globe. And I think you guys want to know now how you can reach these users using Google Hotel Ads. And we as Achieve, we are one of the Hotel Ads integration providers. So we have a lot of experience in integrating larger hotel chains, but also smaller hotels in or with Google Hotels. So what I'm first going to do is I'm going to show you how this integration process works. Then I'm going to highlight the creation of the campaigns. And finally, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about some tips and tricks how to optimize your hotel ads campaigns. So first off, how does a hotel ad integration work? Now, as Sachin mentioned, Google really wants to assure a trusted, effortless, a useful experience for its users. So Google of course, needs to verify this. Google needs to verify a few main components, or so there are actually three main components. First one is the hotel listing feeds, which is basically your hotel's physical locations, which needs to be verified. Then secondly, your pricing and availability needs to be catched by Google, and also you need to respond to some live query responses from Google itself. So Google needs to verify these prices and availability if this is done correctly, with in combination with, of course, your landing pages, which is the last part. So your landing pages needs to be verified in order to assure that the correct prices and availability are highlighted based on the information that you've provided to Google. So for the people who are familiar with Google Shopping, you could basically see the hotel center similar, or you could compare it to the Google Merchant Center. So this is the platform where the verification is done, and this is connected with your own Google Ads account. And in your Google Ads account, for the people who are familiar with Google Ads, this is the place where you can still manage your campaigns, set up your billing, and set up your bids. So these two are connected, and once you finish the whole process, then your hotel ads can be shown on the Google search engine result page, on Google Maps, and Google Assistant, just as Satyan has showed you in his previous slides. So I'm going to highlight a little bit more about the hotel listing feed, which is the first component. I'm not going to mention all the mandatory fields. I'm just putting this slide out here for people who want to build their own hotel listing feed after this webinar. Just for you to know, it's really important that Google can make a connection with the Google My Business property, and Google does this using the latitude, longitude, and or phone number field in your hotel listing feed. So if you upload this file, Google can match most of your listings automatically. Sometimes you need to manually select Google My Business property, and Google can check this and verify this manually. And once this is set and done, your hotel's physical locations are matched, and Google can use it for the hotel ads. So then we arrived at the second part, which is probably the most difficult part in integrating, but it's very important because prices should be accurate, it should be also competitive, and there's a lot of combinations possible. There's a lot of hotel travel schedule combinations possible for users to book. So Google can catch certain prices for certain combination, but it can also ask you for a live query. So whenever a user is on Google, it can select a certain booking range, a certain occupancy rate, and if you respond within a few seconds, then your hotel ad is visible in the result page. Google needs, of course, check the prices, and Google does this both automatically and manually in order to maintain this trusted experience. And if you have, or Google actually scores your prices, and if you have a high score, like an excellent score or a good score, then you'll have better rankings in within Google Hotel Ads. And if your price accuracy is failed, then you're not visible on Google Hotel Ads in order for Google to assure this trusted experience. So once this is verified, this should of course match with your landing pages. So the rooms and rates that you've mentioned and availability should match what you show on your site. And also, whenever a user clicks on one of the Google Hotel Ads, then the room and rate that is clicked on should be the one that is most prominently in place. So you could still show other rooms and rates as long as the one that is clicked on is the most prominent in place. And there's a few other things Google looks at, but this is probably the most important one, because you need to build your URLs dynamically in order to show the right rooms and rates. And usually what you will do is you will set some dynamic values, like check-in day in combination with the length of stay, or check-in day and check-out day. So you have a few filters, and the rooms that the people will see will match the booking date that they clicked on in Google Ads. So what's also recommended is to include occupancy value with the number of adults as a filter, so the rooms that the person sees matches the one that that the occupancy rate is selected in Google Ads. So if you have multiple languages and countries, you can also set multiple landing pages. Also for currency device and the Google site that the user has clicked on. It's all possible. So this is the final step in the integration process. And if you've done this correctly, then you're ready and set to go. Not quite yet, actually, because it's also important to look at your conversion tracking. In order to have reliable conversion tracking for hotel ads, you need to change a few variables, which we recommend using the Google Tag Manager. This is probably the easiest way to change the variables, and then you can reliably track the hotel ads conversions, which is necessary due to ITP 2.0. So this was the whole integration process. Now we arrived at the bid management part. So within Google Hotel Ads, you have a few options in terms of bidding. There's 4 main bidding strategies, ranging from completely automated to completely manual. So if you choose opt-in for the completely automated way, of course you need to have reliable conversion tracking, but then you can just set a percentage of your booking value as your KPI, and Google will use its own machine learning algorithm to automatically optimize for this conversion value. So this is a very powerful way, and it's actually quite easy once your conversion tracking is running reliably, and if you have, of course, enough conversions. If you want to have a little bit more control, there's a few hybrid strategies that you can use. And what you can also do is use a third-party software like our own system Achieve. We have our own ways of making tailor-made algorithms based on the business metrics, for example, the booking arrival window and your booking value, which can be used in the algorithm, and the system will automatically change and update your bids accordingly. So there's a few strategies in this. Yeah, we recommend to automate it as much as possible, of course. But of course, this is something that you need to try out yourself, or you can use a managed service for this as well. So now we've arrived at the optimization part. There's a few ways to stand out from the crowd. First of all, you can set your own callout extensions. So once people who are familiar with extensions in Google Ads, you can set your USPs. So for example, Expedia has used a best price guarantee as their USP. They use this as a callout extension. Of course, you can set your own USPs to differentiate from your competitors. And if you are actually the owner of the hotel, Google will reflect this next to your brand icon, which brings us to the second part that you can optimize. Is you can upload your own brand icon in the Google Hotel Center. If you have multiple different brands, different icons for different hotel groups, then you can group certain hotels together and create their own unique brand icon for that specific hotel. So this is the second part, how to optimize your hotel ads. And the final part is adding room bundles. So whenever a user searches on Google Hotel Ads, then usually you will see just one room, but it's possible to show a package of rooms, room bundles. And so this gives the user more choice in selecting a certain room that it prefers. So it's technically a little bit more difficult to integrate, but if you have this, you can definitely differentiate yourself from your competitors. So if it's possible, you can add this as well. And so this is 2 ways how to optimize your hotel ads and stand out from your competitors. So now this is actually the final slide where we arrived at the live Q&A. So we're open for some questions. I think there's also a few questions asked already in the live chat. So Rudolf has showed me now, and I will open the camera. Maybe Satyan can also help us answering some questions.
Yes, first of all, let me thank you, Satyan and Alex, for your presentation and your slides, of course. The first question I already received was if we can share the presentation with you. Of course, this is possible. We will send you an email after our presentation with the link to our webinar and with the presentation. One of the first questions, please, in the meantime, drop any question you have in our chat box. I've already received some questions. First one, Satyan, is for you. Can you tell us a bit more about the packages and vacation rentals?
Sure. So thanks for the question. Packages has been around for a little while now. It's something that we are continuing to test, and that's the ability to essentially deliver to the user a flight and a hotel combination. It's something that we're working with key partners and usually the larger tour operators in EMEA to deliver that. So that's a continuing conversation. Last year, we announced that we're also testing vacation rentals as well. Now, what we class as a vacation rental is essentially is a bit grey. It's something that we're still trying to develop. But ultimately, what we're trying to do at the moment is onboard those partners and giving a priority to those partners that offer a hotel-like experience. And what I mean by that is it's a property which has a reception or is a fixed business. You don't have to go elsewhere to pick up a key, for example. Anything which falls into that grey area is something that we're continuing to test. We have a lead list that we're working through. If we do have vacation rental partners who are interested, I can share the list with the guys at Achieve so they can add that onto what they send out and we can submit your information. But the vast majority of partners we are directing to some of the integration partners that we work with, a couple of which are vacation rental specialists.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. I see I receive a lot of questions, so that's good. I think, Satyan, this is also one for you or maybe for Alex. Is it possible to use callout extensions when not on position 1? So, for example, position 2, 3, 4, 5, to use a callout extension?
If it's visible.
Yeah, if it's visible, that's depending on if you show it to Google, right? But you can always set it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that we'd always suggest you add the extensions in. They should be you should be able to set them up now through Google Ads, and essentially we will make a decision as and when to deliver them. If there's enough real estate, as in if there's enough space, then they should deliver. But this may not always be the case. So it is one of those things that we will continue to test, and especially if we see improvements such as click-through rates increase, then that's going to help your visibility of the callouts.
Okay.
In a way similar as extensions work with other campaigns in Google Ads. Yeah.
Okay. Satyan, what happens if a guest purchases a different property than what was clicked through on with a CPA campaign? So, for example, click through on Booking.com on Hotel A and purchases Hotel B.
So, sorry, what's the question in terms of if someone clicks through onto an OTA's website, then that's with the OTA to do. It's still a click.
Do the measurement,
and
yeah.
The OTA will, if depends on what bidding strategy they're using, they'll either get charged on a click cost per click basis, but if they're on some sort of CPA basis, then they in theory could be no charge. It just depends on how their conversion tracking set up.
Okay. Regarding the, let me check. Is Google planning to replace the Google Hotel ads above the search engine result page above the normal Google ads? Yeah, I think it's quite. I don't know if you can answer that question, but.
Well, there's something I probably didn't highlight or specify quite clearly is the hotel ad itself on the search results page doesn't appear unless you search for a specific property. if you go to the Google website to do a search, and if you search for luxury hotel or cheap hotel in destination, or even if you search for a brand such as Radisson Blu in Stockholm, you won't actually see a hotel ad. What you'll see is a search unit, which is again the organic information, which gives you a guide price. It's only if you search for a specific property, such as the Radisson Blu Viking Hotel in Stockholm, is where you'll see the knowledge card down the side of the page, which will be the only time you'll see a hotel ad on the search results page. Now, saying that, the search unit itself, which delivers the different types of properties, we'll continue to experiment, as Google always does, in terms of what is best for both the partners, but also for our users. If we see more traction in that unit, then I'm sure there'll be experiments which you may see as we adjust where the positioning of that actually is. Something to highlight as well is we're starting to roll out something called promoted hotels. So this is a little bit more akin to paid for advertising. So in the example I showed of Utrecht, is that the list of hotels was organic, but with promoted hotels, if there's a relevant importance for a property to be showing, then there's another functionality which we should be rolling out during the course of this year.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alex, question for you. Would you mind explaining the price accuracy score a bit further?
Yeah, so the price accuracy score is something that you would see in the Google Hotel Center. Google will automatically check your price and manually check your prices, and look actually on your website if this reflects the prices that you sent out to Google or sent with the live query response, or either the prices that are cached. Google will also look at the taxes and fees, so it's not only just the base rate of your hotel property. It should contain all the fees and taxes that you've mentioned on your site, and it will check basically if it's the same as the price that you've sent. And if it's not the same, you will get a lower score, and this lower score can actually hurt you if your prices do not match at all. Then you can have a complete failed score. Your ads won't be shown at all in Google. And of course, if you have an excellent score, so if your prices always reflect the prices that you've sent, then of course this will help you running Google hotel ads. So it can range from excellent to good to poor, and then the final step is failed. Maybe you want to add something to that, Satyan, or?
No, that's pretty comprehensive. What I would highlight is the price accuracy is very important, and that, like you rightly said, is very difficult and quite complicated to achieve. Hence the need for technical experts. But it's one of the aspects that we look at. So there's price accuracy over a period of time when we're looking at the ranking of where a hotel ad will appear. Is we look at the price accuracy, we look at the competitive rates, we look at the bid. And then over a period of time, we'll build up, similar to search advertising, the predicted click-through rate. So if those of you who are aware of the things like quality score in search advertising, it's a little bit akin to that. We want to make sure that we're promoting those listings which are accurate and users have found useful in the past.
Great. Alex, is it possible to start with only one property, one hotel? With Google Hotel Ads?
Yes, this is also possible if you work with a Hotel Ads integration provider. If you have one property, you can also integrate with Google Hotel Ads, of course. Yeah.
Okay, great. Let me just check. Is there a maximum of positions in the Google Hotel Ads search engine result page? Satyan, is that something you know?
It used to be 8. We're purely dependent on the hotelier deciding to distribute through multiple channels, right? So if a hotelier is distributing through 10 different OTAs or through bed banks, for example, we want to make sure that we're giving the user choice. Now, based on the 4 criteria I highlighted, What you shouldn't see is a rate which is more expensive than anything else, because that's not going to drive a click and it's not going to be useful for the user. So as a result, what we try and deliver is those rates that are most competitive and like each other. And there is the ability, if you click on view more rates, to see other partners that may be delivering a similar rate but may not have placed as an important focus on the bid, for example. So they've not seen the necessity or the need to want to increase their bid to make sure that they're appearing on the above the fold, as it were.
Great. Yeah, well, Alex, I think this is a question you already had in your presentation. Maybe you can explain a little bit more. So how much time do Google Hotel Ads use for price cache? Can you give a little bit more explanation about the caching of the prices and the live query, maybe just a short?
Yeah, so the live query, if I remember correctly, is within 3 seconds. Google, of course, also want to have a fast response. If it's taking too long, then yeah, it will just end the live query, and you won't be shown for that specific live query. If you can imagine, of course, that there's a very wide range of travel combinations possible. So Google cannot catch all the price data itself. So and this way you actually increase your price coverage by opening up to the live query, and you should make sure that your system can respond to that fast enough and also, of course, accurately enough in order to have a wider price coverage.
Great. Thank you very much. I think we've answered most of the questions. Sure, not all of it. But
we can answer them by email.
Yeah, we will answer them by email afterwards. So after the presentation, as said, we will send you a link. We will send you an email with the link to our presentation and the webinar. And please get in touch with us if you have any questions related to any new features in the travel branch or Google, specifically related to Google Hotel Ads. Again, I want to thank Satyan for your presentation, and I want to thank Alex for your presentation. And maybe see you next time within our new webinar. Thanks a lot.
So much for your attention.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.